Cosmic beings exist in Marvel Comics and they exist in DC Comics. You know, beings that are supposed to be higher dimensional beings, beings that are bigger than a singular universe, beings that are bigger than the multiverse. Those type of cosmic type beings exist in DC as well. You guys remember the big Crisis on Infinite Earths events where all the heroes and everything had to team up to fight this being known as Antimonitor? Because he was going to end all universes, this being Antimonitor is very powerful, but he's not the mightiest. He had a mom known as Perpetua, a cosmic being as well. See, this is how DC explains it, right? You guys already know of how there's a whole bunch of realms in the DC multiverse, right? But there's realms that only the higher dimensional top beings can exist at. The sixth realm, the multiverse's penthouse. It's described as the multiverse's control room, a realm for things beyond the imagination of almost all beings, a realm of the impossible where the multiverse was designed and set in motion. And there's only 4 beings who exist who could actually exist there. Like, you literally can't exist there unless you're a certain top tier being. The brothers, the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor, the World Forger, and the one who started it all, Perpetua. As you can see Perpetua, then you see the Anti-Monitor. It's implied they're bigger than the multiverse. They're in a place that only they can exist. Okay, so check this out. Since we already know there's only 4 beings that could exist at a super high plane like this, the top of the top, the Monitor, Anti-Monitor, and the World Forger, and Perpetua herself. Tell me why these beings that exist on this higher plane became one and fused together into one being. Beings, the few beings that can exist in this 6th dimension, the brothers, these 3 cosmic beings fused together. And they became this being known as the Ultra Monitor. Like, imagine 3 cosmic beings becoming one and fusing into one body. Even though they're fused together, there's implications at her full powers. They still wouldn't technically be able to beat her. They say she lacks strength in this particular situation, implying that this wouldn't even be enough. I just want to give you an idea of the cosmic beings we're talking about. She was able to literally hold the entire structure or cosmic structure of the multiverse in her hands. This is how higher dimensional she is. You're probably wondering why am I bringing this up? Because we literally seen a being this powerful, Perpetua, a cosmic being, get in a boxing match with this being known as the Darkest Knight. Showing that the Darkest Knight is on this being this top tier's level. This being that can hold multiversal structures in her hands, this Darkest Knight being was able to fight on par with a being like this because he was so overpowered. And Superboy Prime, Perpetua, Superboy Prime is fighting a being, boxing it out hand-to-hand combat style with beings that can threaten the multiverse and actually do damage and get some headway against beings on this level. The multiverse is not just 52 universes. In this bubble, there's actually more. Don't ask. Barry Allen made his own little chart of the multiverse. So yeah, it's more than 52. It's basically infinite, one could say. This implies that Superboy's punches, without even no special reality warping powers, can slug it with beings. That's a threat for the infinite multiverse. It's like his punches alone are a threat to the multiverse as well. It's like saying with pure punches, he can threaten the fabric of the entire infinite DC multiverse with his punches, fighting cosmic beings. You know what? I don't want to get too confusing. Am I going too fast for you? My bad. Let me rewind. Superboy Prime. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Superman is just one of those characters that just in general, even in his base state, for the most part, he's known for his raw strength. Being able to perform impossible feats that shouldn't realistically be possible. Immeasurable type feats, blah, blah, blah. But then, of course, you got alternate reality versions of him that's even scarier, this being known as Superboy Prime. He's one of those characters that's so strong, when you're reading this stuff, you're probably wondering, why the heck is he so strong? Did I miss something? Because he makes Superman-esque or Shazam-centric type beings look like a joke and smiles their punches off and everything. Things that would normally hurt a Superman being a Kryptonian like magic doesn't even hurt him. He says it tickles, for example, here. Even top tier magic people like Morju, he says magic always tickles. We're not going to talk about what Morju can do in the past. Like in the past, they stated how he has the power to move worlds, blackened suns, the power to annihilate galaxies with an S, more than one galaxies, and Superboy said this guy blasts tickles. This is a guy that can fight multiple Supermen at the same time, guys, with them working together, even trying to hurt him with kryptonite, and it doesn't work if it's not from his own universe, saying you're only going to kill your other Superman or yourself for that matter. Like when they say he's resistant, they don't mean just resistant to kryptonite, they mean immune to kryptonite. Like Firestorm made this gigantic crap into kryptonite and he straight up said it again. This universe's kryptonite doesn't hurt him. I mean, even in newer stories, it's literally confirmed that kryptonite don't hurt Superboy Prime. It's crazy. He's one of those characters where he's even a nightmare against magicians because he said your sword's magic, but magic doesn't hurt me. Superboy Prime smashes magic beings. That's probably why he's able to take out an alternate universe version of Zatanna so easily. Yeah, this guy. Let's analyze him. It's crazy that somebody like him with limited appearances, less than 200 appearances, has a lot of flashy feats. He's one of those characters where you got to be real focused on what comics he appears in, because there's sometimes he actually looks like the normal Superman because he has the normal outfit on and stuff, but he has the standard Supermanish type stuff, but one could say just to a higher degree, like the standard old super strength, like throwing vehicles, of course, super strength he has. Of course, stuff I'm going to get back to in this video, like he can punch really hard, even against beings that's super durable and have similar powers to him, like Kryptonian tears, he can punch and harm them, of course. I'm going to get back to this in a bit, though. You know, the standard stuff like heat vision he has as well. Ice breath. And of course, he has super senses where he can see and hear things other people can't. You know, standard Supermanish type Kryptonian stuff. He has absurd speed in general, whether it's flight speed or fighting speed to fight flashes and react to them. And yes, his body can withstand being hit, so his body can withstand as much as he can take being hit by missiles in this particular occasion and didn't really do nothing. Even though he doesn't have the most appearances, he seems to get involved in stories that are super big, or when the multiverse or universe is in danger, he becomes a part of the story in those moments. There was like points in the story during a major event, you know, during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, he was here helping out other Superman against the crisis and stuff. He wasn't necessarily doing bad stuff. An accurate picture to understand Superboy's prime, one could say he went through evolutions, getting stronger as time goes by, is a picture like this, how he would have the standard Superman look, and then after the Crisis on Infinite Earth event, he gets an armor, which he's mostly famous for, is the armor that looks like Anti-Monitor. Interesting, because this being Anti-Monitor was a being that gave all the universes this being threatened all the universes. You know, Superboy Prime was involved in this battle. This is like before he became super duper overpowered, though. This is like the early times. He did get blasted by Anti-Monitor. During these events, he was hurt, though, but not finished, which is still impressive, I would say. It was even stated, I absorb all the energy my universe provides. And he had to withstand attacks with such a crazy powerful being, even before he became the diabolical Superboy Prime. One can say this version of Superboy or Superman reminds me of the Hulk, because it appears that his anger is a big catalyst on why he became so strong. I guess helped fuel his insanity. And it's implied without a certain level of anger, he will be in a weakened state. So it's implied that a big part of his power level is his rage. You add that rage on top of the fact he had to find a way to counter being like environmental removed when Speedsters trapped him somewhere. When the Flashes trapped him, he had to find a way to counter it to where just because he's around a red sun, it doesn't necessarily depower him. That's where we get into the Anti-Monitor armor, which helps him from being depowered. Because just like a common weakness to Kryptonians, the red sun does weaken him, so this whole armor thing was to find a way to counter that. One can also say, along with his rage, this was a good reason on why he was so much stronger than your standard Kryptonian, even Superman, stating here that the Flashes kept him in prison for years under a red sun, but he found a way out. It was stated here he designed this armor after the Anti-Monitor. It's an energy collector that feeds him constant yellow sunlight. Could be an explanation on why he's so much more amped up than your standard Kryptonian. Because if he loses it and gets thrown in the red sun, he will lose his superpowers, and this will happen. You see what I mean? Studied his armor with his X-ray vision and microscopic vision. It was an energy collector. It gathered up the positive matter universes he wiped out. His armor is where I got the idea from, Anti-Monitor. Yeah, so thanks to this power evolution, one can say his power fluctuates, but for the most part, majority of the time, he's still ridiculously stronger than your favorite heroes. One common theme seems to be this Anti-Monitor looking armor, though, even if he was a herald of Anti-Monitor. You see what I mean? It's like a common theme with him having this looking armor on. Like, this crazy being actually got a power up from one of his many fights of one of the Guardians battling him, energy releasing against him. Something that was supposed to defeat him actually powered him up. Apparently powered him up to the point where instead of him looking like a Superboy, that's the reason why he started looking like a Superman, stating, I'm Superman now. Looking like this and looking cold in his black suit, of course. It was stated, you're not a man. This is stated by Mixie. You're not older. Your muscles are swollen with power. Your cells are storing energy from the recent encounter that brought you here. He got powered up from an encounter of them trying to beat him. This is apparently a temporary power, but well, it didn't really seem to matter because he still was a team buster no matter which way you look at him. And you're going to see a lot of that in this video. Like, was this really a temporary power? When you see the beings he faces in this video, you're going to wonder to yourself, was that a temporary power? Because all these power-ups seem to be permanent based on the amount of power he acquires. But that's none of my business. One can say at the height of his power, even characters like Parasite, who are known to be able to suck up powers, stated if he was to try to suck up the power from Superboy Prime, he was too powerful to the point where trying to suck up his power would probably kill him. So even energy absorbers don't necessarily want to try to absorb his powers. So I hope that can give you some understanding of his different power fluctuations. I mean, that's the best I can see it anyway. Certain issues, he might not have as much rage, red sun, might lose his Anti-Monitor armor, but even without his Anti-Monitor armor, he was still insane compared to your average Kryptonian still. You know, like in this occasion with Anti-Monitor, he didn't have the Anti-Monitor armor yet, but he was still able to withstand blast from him. That's like one example of why he was still a powerhouse, worthy of being Superman-centric already. But I'll start the video off with some light stuff, you know, lifting up stuff like this. He's super strong. You see he does have his armor on. You see him popping necks, ripping beings in half. Beings that are apparently invulnerable. That won't necessarily stop Superboy Prime from tearing off his arm. Cars are light. You know, classic lifting stuff like throwing half of a bus here in this occasion. Yawn, we can see him throw a vehicle here. That's light work. Don't ask, but yeah, he was the time trapper. Yeah. You can see his strength to be able to lift up heavy bullcrap. Huge statues like this, he can swing around and use it as a weapon against other foes. Classic Superman stuff like implying he can move thousands of tons. You see this building tilting, for example. There's implications that he's the reason for this because of his physical strength, one could say. Because, yeah, that's normal. For Superman level characters to be able to move or lift thousands or hundreds of thousands of tons, that should be normal. Same for Prime. Because lifting something of this magnitude should be child's play. You can kind of get an idea of how hard he can hit or what he can move by what he can take. Like he's been blasted by beams, like damaging the human bomb. The human bomb is a being capable of destroying a city the size of Manhattan with a single drop of sweat. He's a being that can kill any and all of us, stated, narrated here. If these beings shove their explosive force into the ground, he'll create the world's biggest sinkhole because of their raw blast power or power output. A sinkhole a half a mile in diameter, 70 feet deep. Beings like this ain't gonna cut it against Superboy. That's lightweight stuff. Feats like this, I don't even know why I'm showing it in this video. We know he's way above nuclear bombs and stuff, but I thought, why not? He's withstood energy blasts way worse than city shattering, if we're being honest. Blasts, like from this being, I'm gonna go back over later on, Monarch. I'm gonna bring him back up later on in the video, of course, but this being can just casually blow up not only multiple cities, but an entire country with his blast, and even make a blast radius as big as continents. Even stated on panel, the whole country, you killed them all. So of course he can withstand city-shattering attacks. I mean, just slugfesting with this guy, you can see nukes go off and he's right in the middle of, and they can just keep on fighting like nothing's happening. How much heat, vision, and blast power do you have to where you can take care of Atlantis without even going all the way underwater? Without wasting any time, we can assume when it comes to strength, he has similar powers to Superman when it comes to lifting, punching, all that good stuff. Whatever they can do, he can do. One could say even better. So a good way to understand his strength is to understand the main Superman strength. We've seen Superman and other powerhouses like Wonder Woman and Green Lantern work together to move entire moons, which off gate means Prime can do something similar. We know there's a size difference between the Earth and the moon. The main Superman claimed he can move the Earth. This stuff is not an exaggeration because we've visually seen them do similar stuff to this when he was working together with other powerhouses. He was at least helping move 1/3 of the weight of the Earth. No, seriously, moving planets like Earth or Earth in general is not an exaggeration. This pretty much means Superboy Prime moving the moon shouldn't be an issue because the main Superman can lift things or pull things even bigger than the moon, like him being able to move the entirety of Earth, which means at a bare minimum he can lift or move sextillions of tons, or one could say the entire planet Earth, multiple continents he can lift or push. You get the idea. Not to mention, we don't have to just go off of other Superman character feats. We can literally see Superboy do it himself when it comes to them narrating. He can move whole planets through the cosmos. Thanks to Superboy Prime, planets have been transported across sectors others destroyed. The very fabric of existence has been shifted. This implies to be easy for him too. Like he's implied to be doing this by himself because they even narrated he's been moving planets like chess pieces throughout the universe, sparking intergalactic war. This dude has been a bad butt, shifting the center of the universe away from Oa. Since they're implying he can move planets effortless, this implying he can move planets even bigger than Earth, if we're being honest. Maybe he can move planets even like Jupiter compared to Earth. And you see how small Earth is compared to Jupiter. You know, one could imply that. Making two planets collide. The planet known as Thanagar, it's hard to get an exact size measurement on it, but I guess we can assume it being similar to Earth size, I guess. Like it was literally stated here, Thanagar is being nudged out of orbit. So this guy's literally pushing planets into other planets, causing them to go out of orbit, and even making some collide, destroying, blah, blah, blah. As you can see here, when they zoom in, like he's literally moving it. Doing this to this planet Thanagar, causing the planet to be destroyed. They thought it was Rand's arrival that destabilized Thanagar's orbit, but it was really Superboy. It started falling towards the sun, and it scorched the planet, and it's his fault for all this destruction, causing all this mayhem. They even say it's something else gave a helping hand. They thought it was something else, but it was really Superboy. So this guy can quite literally move and push planets. On top of the fact we already know he can move planets because we've seen him grapple with Wonder Woman, and just like grappling type thing, like muscle to muscle type thing. Like we've seen their strengths clash. And we know Wonder Woman can move planetoids and things bigger than planets, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. You already know the deal. Not to mention, based on all the punching power feature you're going to see in the video, there's definitely implications he could, if he wanted to, lift the weight of the sun up. You know, it just gets crazy. So you guys already know he can fly and all that good stuff. His fists are deadly. I mean, you can kind of already tell they have to be that deadly by all these lifting feats of him literally being able to move planets, for sure. But yeah, just the collateral of him and other Kryptonians fighting due to buildings, this should be like a no-duh moment. That him and other Kryptonian tiers can easily punch down buildings, duh. The kind of strength he has is the reason why the Watchtower got destroyed. I mean, these feats should be like, of course he can do this if he can move planets. But yeah, he ripped out of a room that had red sunlight, partly thanks to this monitor armor, of course. Stone statues he can easily fly through. I mean, buildings are just not safe when he's in the vicinity, just flying through it, making a hole through the building. Thick metal platforms he can break by flying through it. Can shatter ice easily with just smacking his hands together with a thunderclap. Don't waste your time blasting with ice, he'll just shatter it. Look at the holes he makes this easy. He'll even punch holes through beings like this, for example, like this scapegoat entity. Oh man, his punches. Let me stop playing around with the striking feats and stuff. I'm gonna show you some real striking feats. It's literally confirmed he can destroy planets, not just push them. There's this alternate reality Earth just casually flying through planes and stuff, flying through the planet, causing planetary destruction by drilling through the planet and just simply blowing it up. That was effortless. This not only proves he can cause catastrophic devastation to moons and stuff, but can just fly through planets and destroy them with his strength, speed, whatever, and cause planetary destruction like it ain't nothing. He can already use his flying in conjunction with his super strength to move planets, but he can use his speed with his flying to just drill through a planet and cause catastrophic destruction to a planet, striking with enough force to destroy a planet. It's not just his punches you got to worry about. You got to worry about his blast power being able to do this to an entire planet because of Superboy Prime. So there's implications he can threaten a planet without even necessarily having to punch it. He can just blast it with blast power. One could say his heat vision. Like, I'm just scratching the surface. Like, the Darkest Night being, which I'm going to get back to later on in the video, just the collateral of them punching each other. You see Superboy Prime punch each other and nearby planets crumble from their hits. Not just one planet. Stuff like this imply that his punches can affect or destroy multiple planets just with the collateral of his punching power or shockwaves of it. That would imply that his punch is so catastrophic that his shockwaves can reach to other planets and the shockwaves are strong enough to actually delete said planets nearby. This actually makes a lot of sense considering this is nowhere near his peak that I've gone over in this video yet, because, I mean, you know, when it comes to how hard he can punch, beings like Superman, the main Superman, his punches can damage. I think we all can agree whatever the main Superman can do, Superboy Prime can do better when it comes to raw power or just punching power and stuff. His blast power can damage Superman with his heat vision, so it's probably just as dangerous as his punches. Alternate reality versions of Superman, you see him handle with blast, and then Wonder Girl gets handled. Notice how he has the blast power to actually pierce the main Superman. I mean, this is not even one of the best feats, but this is to give you a ballpark of him destroying multiple planets just from his punches. Makes sense with other Superman characters being able to survive supernova explosions 50 times the normal size or power and survive it, implying his punches are way more dangerous than a simple supernova or a couple supernova explosions of a sun. So yeah, this pretty much confirms he's leagues and leagues above Earth shattering or planet shattering when you could look at the size of the Earth compared to the sun. If we've seen Superman characters survive supernova explosions from actual stars and stuff, knowing the size difference, Superboy's punches will probably feel like worse than multiple Earths slamming on your face at that point. Him having more dangerous punches than a supernova would mean his punches are more dangerous than multiple Earths slamming on your face or multiple Earths exploding. So planet busting is effortlessly low, and that's nowhere near his max when it comes to his punching power. Just get your popcorn, because there's going to be a lot of moments of him team busting and fighting multiple Kryptonian tiers at the same time and throwing them all off of him as well. Bro be constantly tossing Superman tier beings, multiple of them off him like it ain't no big deal. You're going to see a lot of occasions of Superboy Prime fighting Connor, the normal Superboy, to further prove the level he's on. Like in this occasion, nearly beating him to death in this occasion. Like, yo. Yeah, he's consistently portrayed to be above your standard Kryptonian level beings. You see Superboy like Connor punching him and he catches his punch. Like, what are you doing? Messing up his hand with his grip power to show the power gap. And when it comes to how hard he can hit, Connor isn't the only one we've seen him manhandle. Kryptonian superdogs, we can see him overpower. Like Krypto, powerful Kryptonian tiers that are not weak by any stretch of the imagination. Like Power Girl just gets blitzed one shots, knocked out, by Superboy Prime. Like, he's not afraid to use his speed in combat, like staggering Black Adam and Power Girl here, for example. It's like a team-busting occasion. He makes a shockwave aerial effect and knock beings like Power Girl back along with some other beings. While multiple beings are teaming up on him, I already showed this, he throws Power Girl into Superman. Like, we see him blast Superman with ice here, then we see him punch him. Even when Superman tries to stop his eye blast, he blasts through his hands. Like, when they say magic doesn't hurt him, magic doesn't hurt him. But even without magic, beings like Black Adam are considered Superman-esque on their own when it comes to that raw strength, without even necessarily counting magic. But he's eating these heavy hits with magic and talking about his hits are a joke. We've seen Prime get in a 2v1 versus Black Adam and Shazam, and even do well against both of them. Elbows them. There's other powerhouses on the Justice League other than Kryptonians, like Martian the Manhunter. There's also implications he's stronger than Martian the Manhunter too with punches. You see him do this to him, you know, blood. He's making this kind of stuff look easy, like these are featherweights on him, guys. Like, they're teaming up on him. You see him do this to Hawkman, make him hit himself with his own weapon and also choking Martian Manhunter. Alternate reality Martian the Manhunter, we seen him pop his neck. We've actually seen him punch powerhouses like Wonder Woman really far into like a cruise hole. Like in this particular occasion, he punched her real hard. She went flying. So every single powerhouse I pretty much went over so far, we've seen him scuffle with the major name. And there's even implications he even knocked her out off panel, because the next time we see her, she's like, what's going on? Like, yeah. You know how DC loves their legacy characters. You got Wonder Woman, then you got Wonder Girl. Someone that's also technically a powerhouse we've seen Superboy get in a scuffle with and punch her like this. He's gotten interactions with her in plenty of occasions of him team busting everybody, grabbed her, slammed her head into Superboy, you know, the standard teaming up on him and it doesn't go well type thing. Alternate reality Donna Troy, he messes up Donna. Should I even get on the Green Lanterns? I just want to give y'all a reference real quick. Green Lanterns like Kyle Rayner can contain star explosions and stuff of that such, but even greater things Green Lanterns can contain. Like, this is one Green Lantern right here. Like, in this particular situation, there was this Imperiex probe. There was energy taken from the destruction of entire galaxies. Imperiex, when he exploded, one Green Lantern is able to contain this type of stuff. You're probably wondering, what does this have to do with Superboy Prime? This is only one Green Lantern. Yes, this is one of the top tier Green Lanterns, Kyle Rayner. I want you guys to get an understanding how strong these Green Lanterns are. I just want you guys to understand the gap between him and Green Lanterns. Like, he busted through a construct that was a 300-mile thick wall of pure willpower. And not a singular lantern seems to be able to even take him on in raw power. His durability, none of it. Like, yo, one of the top tier Green Lanterns like Hal Jordan, for example, that one can argue is even stronger than Kyle Rayner. And we know Kyle Rayner can contain multiple galaxy shattering type of explosions. And we see Prime do this to a top tier Green Lantern like Hal, for example. Had to put a cast on his arm. That means his attacks are far more dangerous than solar system busting. If a Green Lantern can make shields that can withstand stuff that can cause multiple galaxy levels of destruction, and this is just the size of one galaxy in this picture, basically his fist and punching power or energy he can produce is more dangerous than multiple galaxies at this point. And his body can withstand all this damage as well. You can kind of tell how strong he is based on his durability. It was stated here in this particular occasion, for example, that a breach in Warworld's power core along with the yellow power battery affixated to it will result in a detonation capable of wiping out the entire Milky Way galaxy. A galaxy-wide explosion we've seen Superboy Prime be able to withstand such a cataclysmic detonation. And he's fine after such a crazy detonation. He killed some Green Lanterns with his ice breath, heat vision, murked a lot of them on panel right here. 32 Green Lanterns. He takes out a couple Green Lanterns off panel here. When Green Lanterns try to make domes against him, his punching power, we see him punch and crack through it with his punching power. His blast power might be just as much as crazy as his punches, because we see him blast through the shoulder of a Green Lantern here, blasting a hole through him here, and hurting the Guardian. I look at it like this: whatever the raw power a Green Lantern can put out, I would say Superboy Prime can do better. I mean, you can literally see him drawing blood from one of the Green Lantern type characters like Alan Scott, pretty much all the powerhouses. But even Guardians, y'all get handled too. Superboy Prime pretty much stated he would be able to survive a new Big Bang. Everything will restart, stating he'll be the only one left. And seeing all the stuff he's done in this video, I definitely believe that statement should technically be taken literal, meaning he can be right in the middle of an explosion that would create a whole new universe, and he can withstand being in the middle of such an event. This kind of isn't just a statement, because when we seen him fight this being known as Monarch, a ridiculously powerful being, he actually withstood something like his statement said. It actually unleashed unparalleled destructive force. It didn't stop at a planet. The wave kept on spreading to everything. It was so bad the Monitor thought he was the only survivor left. Survived such a blast, got pulled somewhere else, and it proved he survived. I mean, this guy slugfesting with this being known as Monarch, who literally has the power stated on panel, similar to a Big Bang itself. He's fist fighting with a being that has the power of a Big Bang, for Pete's sake. Just to give you an idea of how strong Prime is, you know how Flash gets their power from the Speed Force. Somebody had to absorb the power of the entire Speed Force, guys. We got to remember, there's like infinite versions of Flash throughout the multiverse. And they had to absorb the entire Speed Force. Y'all see how the multiverse is within this little area right here, right? The Speed Force is actually bigger. There's only one Speed Force giving all the speedsters in the multiverse their speed. It's leeching it. And you telling me a being absorbed the entire Speed Force itself? Something that's way above the concept of universes? And they had to do this to take him on? That says a lot about Superboy Prime. See, Superboy Prime was like in this little Nexus little area. This is where we get into some crazy punching power stuff, like him being able to alter reality somehow, like explain this, changing reality. He doesn't even know how he's doing this. The retcon punch. Heck, it's even stated the original Crisis took all the remaining Earths and merged them together again, but there were glitches, paradoxes, and the universe demanded that its flaws be fixed. With each strike, he's sorting his way through the conflicting permutations, resolving all the possible realities. This is miraculous. Stated here, altering reality. Each strike he takes is rupturing the continuity of life without reason or purpose. People are changing without explanation, new events, altering our own reality, change theirs too, altering other people's realities. This guy was seeing what Superboy can do. He was wanting to use Superboy's punches, redesign reality for the good of the universe. He will be my architect, he said, implying that only Superboy could do this. Each time you hit the barrier, something changes. Then we see him do the same thing again. And for those thinking, oh man, it's only doing this because they're in a special nexus, this doesn't really have nothing to do with raw strength. If it didn't have nothing to do with raw strength, why do they say, I'm not strong enough? There's no sunlight here. Yeah, so meaning he was doing this while weakened. So he had to give him something to recharge. So he was apparently weakened, and this technically does have something to do with his raw punching power, because they straight up mentioned, I'm not strong enough. This is about strength. Then when he got powered up here, he continues to do it, and how he pounds for hours, chipping away between their dimension and ours, and literally busts his way into a reality, literally, like cracking the dimensional barriers. It was stated here, the anger and frustration of a powerful boy trapped between his existence and nothingness. Punching. He sent ripples across time that alter events. They say the strange truth of this anomaly, this wave that set so many bits of time on a different path, did not change history, but set it right, altering things to the point where it's actually retconning and bringing people like Jason Todd back to life. They're implying Superboy's punches can crack the fabric of reality itself. Imagine you being over here stuck in an alternate reality, and there's like a barrier separating you, but you got to punch your way, and your punches are so hard that even though you're not in the same dimension, it affects things over here. That's kind of what Superboy Prime did. We got occasions like this of him fighting alternate reality Superman again, and then we can see him do the classic reshaping reality with his punches crap again. Somebody make this crap make sense. How is he punching somebody and changing reality? See, one of the best ways to beat somebody this top tier, if you can't beat them physically, just use a Phantom Zone arrow to battlefield, remove them to another dimension. This is the super prison. That it shouldn't be a place you should be able to just punch your way out of. Since Superboy Prime doesn't operate on logic, he can literally punch his way out of the Phantom Zone. Here he goes doing some universe-shattering stuff again. Superboy, what's up with your punches? You guys know Antimatter, the guy that threatened, the guy that started the Crisis on Infinite Earths in the first place. He was kind of weak in here, but this is like one could say cosmic being. We see him do some damage to here, even though he was kind of injured already. This is still impressive because Superboy Prime's like that. We got beings that can casually hold universes in their hats, like this being from the fifth dimension, a higher dimensional being. I'm going to call him Mixie. Superboy Prime pulled him out of his fifth dimension with the help of an alternate universe's Zatanna, pretty much had him strangled up, even punching him here. I mean, you thought all that was crazy. Superboy Prime might actually be up there with the cosmic beings of DC, y'all. Because like this version of Batman, the Darkest Knight, was up there with a cosmic being known as Perpetua. You know that overpowered being that caused a multiversal crisis? That dude known as Anti-Monitor? Tell me why he has a mom known as Perpetua, a being that's so powerful. There's literal scans of her actually holding the entire multiversal structure in her hands. Like she's that cosmic. And this being known as the Darkest Knight is boxing it up with a being like Perpetua, who's the mother of somebody like the Anti-Monitor. This absolutely is ridiculous. The same being that can box it out with a multiversal entity that's above the universes, a being that can hold the multiverse in their hands. We see Superboy Prime getting a fist fight with cosmic beings like this, implied to be able to harm him and change reality with the hits. Like a being this cosmic, you would think he would one-shot Superboy Prime, but yes, Superboy Prime's still strong enough to hold on against a being this top tier. There was even a point where it looked like he had him on the ropes, saying, I think I've won, implying his power could be his, the darkest night cosmic being power. But he had a change of heart, of course. Even says, you can't destroy me any more than I can destroy you. What? The darkest night said, you know what? He said this about Superboy. Let's not. Like, you see all these Earths right here that were just lined up? Like, I'm not joking. They literally said lined up. He wondered if he can change all of them. If he can kill this monster, he says, the darkest night, this cosmic type being. Like, make this make freaking sense. Those worlds vanished, and it looked like he did some reality type stuff again and somehow started reading about his own death, apparently, the death metal comic. And in this world, he still has superpowers. Okay. Superboy Prime is crazy. This dude can fight cosmic beings, multiversal entities, beings that are above time and space type beings. Honestly, stuff like this proves that he can pretty much tremble the entire multiverse. This dude boxed it out with a being that was boxing it out with a being that can literally hold this entire cosmic structure in their hands. And we know DC has infinite universes. I mean, this guy is always altering reality with his punches. I don't know about you guys, but I would run away from somebody that can tremble the entirety of the DC multiverse, fighting cosmic beings that can hold the multiverse in their hands, and a guy that has the power to alter reality with his punches. I'm just saying. You got panels like this that imply he defeated this world's Jay Garrick, a speedster level being a Speed Force user, lets you know how fast he is. It's confirmed he can fly faster than the speed of light. I don't want to spend too much time on his speed, but if you can fight this many speedsters at the same time when it comes to fighting speed, he's automatically massively faster than the speed of light off of default. Obviously, he's massively faster than the speed of light. He can pass multiple Earths because of raw speed. You know how wide Earth is, and he's passing that like nothing. He can use his speed in combat. But everybody, that's just about going to do it. I hope you guys respect Superboy Prime. He's ridiculously overpowered. You probably already knew it. Did you know he was this overpowered? This guy can box it out with cosmic beings, but that's none of my business. But before I get going, everybody, I got to say quick thanks to the donations or donators. Helps out a lot. Respect Superboy Prime. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.